Hi everyone, this is going to be a quick video about creating for loops. But before we get into for loops, we'll just do a quick review on while loops. So if you guys recall, a while loop basically repeats a block of code as long as the condition is true. So if you recall, we used it a lot when we were trying to validate different inputs, or when we wanted to keep a game from repeating. So if you look at this example, we have our while loop, and what this means, so while keep repeating, another way to say that is while keep repeating equals true. While this variable is true, or this condition is true, this block of code is going to execute between the curly brackets. Okay, and then once it's false, then we break out of the loop and it no longer repeats. All right, so that's one type of loop. However, we have a different kind of loop, which is the for loop. And this loop works best when you want something to execute a specific number of times. So say, for example, we wanted to print a line of code or statement 10 times, and we know that for sure, then we can use a for loop. All right, so I'm going to outline first the syntax, and then we'll look at a few examples. So it's going to look something like this: keyword for, and then there's going to be 3 different slots. Let me do this as a comment. So in the first part, this is a variable that acts as a counter. This is going to keep track of how many times the loop has repeated. Okay, then we have a middle part. This is the condition for which the loop will continue running. And then the last part is going to be the increment or decrement. So either we're counting up by 1, counting down by 1. All right. So let me show you what that will look like. So we know the first part, so we'll do keyword for. First part is a variable to keep track of how many times it's repeated. So usually, right, you can name this variable anything you want, but usually for for loops, we'll name that I. So int I, and usually for most of our purposes, we'll start it at 0 and count upwards. All right. Next, so in the middle part, so say we wanted this to count up until 5. So we're going to have to set a condition in the middle that's going to get this to repeat enough times so we can output to 5. All right, and the way we'll do this, so we're going to run this as long as I is less than 6. Okay, and then at the ending here, this increment or decrement, because we're counting up to 5, this is going to be an increment. So we do I plus plus. Okay, get our curly brackets in place. And now we can put in the output statements. So I want this to count up to 5. So here's the thing, we can output the value of this variable I, but because this is 0, and I want it to start at 1, I'm going to say output I plus 1. Okay, now when we run it, let's take a look. Might have to adjust the middle condition, but let's take a look first. There we go. And I'm going to make that, because we're making I plus 1, we'll make this run till I less than 5. There we go. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Another way you can do this, so you can also have it count down. So say I wanted it to count down from 10. So another for loop. This is count down from 10 to 1. Okay, so now instead of starting at 0, we're going to start int I equal to 10. I'll skip to the third part here. So this is counting down, so it's going to be I minus minus. And in the middle part here, we want this to run as long as I is greater than 0. Okay, so once I reaches value of 0, for loop stops and code ends. All right. So output statement system.out.println. This time, because we're starting at 10, we can just output I. And just going to put a line just to separate these. Okay, so now when we output it, there we go. So first one counting from 1 to 5, and second one, you see between this line, counting down from 10 to 1. All right, and then this for loop is going to open up many different options for us, but we all start at the basics. All right, let me know in class if you guys have any questions. Take care for now.